This is going to be kind of new. I wasn't expecting it, but your quiz has a lot of questions on behavioral traits, and they don't really talk about it in your book at all. So I figured we needed to have a class where we just discuss together about behavioral traits. Now, what do you guys think a behavioral trait is? What is a behavioral trait? What do you guys think? You guys have an idea of what you might think a behavioral trait would be? And if you don't know how to explain it, maybe you could give an example of a behavioral trait. Okay. Moon, what do you think a behavioral trait is?
I think is like a parent have the trait that angry and their offspring their trait will be angry too.
Okay. I see. So if the parent's always angry, the kid might also get the trait of being angry. Okay. It's a very good start. Kim, what do you think a behavioral trait is? Do you know what a behavior is? Can you tell me about a behavior? What is someone that has can you give me an example of someone that has a good behavior? Good behavior. Remember, good behavior in class might be raising your hand, sitting nicely, okay? Things like that. But we're gonna get more into this. Emma, do you have an example of a behavioral trait for us?
Yeah.
Or what? Yeah.
A behavioral. I make an example. I tell the definition.
Okay, tell me the definition. If you want, what?
Trait is mean the parent teach the child to have a good behavior.
Okay, that's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. Okay, you guys are very close. Some of your answers are correct. You know, you guys are right there. You guys are right there. What do you think a behavioral trait is? Now, what is this bird doing? What is this bird doing? We have seen this before, but what is this bird doing? Lucky.
The bird is building the nest.
Yes. Do you think this is a behavior? Building a nest?
I think yes.
Yes. This is a behavior, guys. Building a nest. Hunting for food. Running away from danger. These are all different examples of behavioral traits. Okay. A behavior is just something that we do. A behavior is something that you do. It can be anything. Okay. It could be coloring. It could be reading. It could be writing. These things can be different types of behaviors. Okay. Now remember, not all traits are inherited. Let's make a list of inherited traits and non-inherited traits. Okay, so remember, traits like your hair color, your eye color, things like this, they're not all inherited. Okay, maybe you dye your hair a different color. That's not inherited. Maybe you paint your nails. That is not inherited. So just like physical traits, some behavioral traits are inherited or not inherited. But let's talk about some physical traits, or you guys can try to do some behavioral traits if you want. But it's okay if our examples are physical traits like hair color, body covering, things like that. Okay. So we have traits. Okay. We have traits. Now, traits can be physical or behavioral. Okay. Okay. And they can also be inherited traits and non-inherited traits. Inherited traits come from where? Inherited traits come from where? Sophia, where do inherited traits come from?
It comes from our parents.
Our parents. Does anyone have a guess of where non-inherited traits come from? Where do non-inherited traits come from? Does anyone have a guess? Moon, where do non-inherited traits come from?
Your friend.
Your friend, your environment, right? Your environment. Okay. Let's say Moon breaks her leg. Her broken leg wasn't inherited. That happened because maybe she fell in her environment. Okay. Those are examples. Okay, so let's get some examples. So let me know if you're gonna give me an example of an inherited trait or a non-inherited trait, and we'll write it down in our list. So let's give some examples. Zook, could you give me an example of an inherited trait or a non-inherited trait?
What?
Okay, could you give me an example of an inherited trait?
Um,
Something you inherited from your parents or an animal would inherit from their parents. An inherited
blue eye.
blue eyes. Okay, blue eyes. Perfect. That's an inherited trait. Who can give me a non-inherited trait? A non-inherited trait. Sam, what is something you do not inherit from your parents, but might be a trait?
Maybe you are broken your arms.
A broken arm. Very good. A broken arm. Okay. You do not inherit that from your parent, but that's from or caused by your environment. Okay. Good job, Sam. Let's have Milk. Give me an inherited trait. Could you give me an inherited trait? Something you inherit from your parents?
Short hair.
Short hair. Okay, short hair. Short. I'm gonna say short fur. Okay, short fur. Okay, because remember, hair kind of grows. Hair kind of grows and keeps on growing, but fur for animals sometimes can shed and it will stay short. Okay, Taylor, can you give me an example of a non-inherited trait, a trait that an animal would not get from its parents?
Blind.
Ooh, we're doing a lot of injuries here. Blind. The animal goes blind. That would be horrible. That would kill most animals. That would kill most animals. Okay. Okay. Yep. Only humans can really survive blind. Emma, would you like to give an example of an inherited trait?
I have not inherited.
Okay, non-inherited.
I can also inherit it too.
Okay, give us one for each. Inherited trait first.
Inherited trait is curly hair.
Curly hair. Okay. And what's a non-inherited trait?
Dyed.
Dyed hair. Okay. Oh, sorry. Dyed hair. Okay, so we have curly hair and dyed hair. Very good. And they're both with hair. Okay, who would like to give me an inherited trait? Pasta, could you give me an inherited trait? You can also give me a non-inherited trait if you want.
Inherited traits are hair color.
Okay, your hair color. And give a non-inherited one?
Trait.
Something you would not inherit from your parents.
But blind.
What is it?
The kind where you can't hear anything.
Oh, deaf. Deaf. You guys have a lot of injuries. Guys, your non-inherited traits could be so much different. Your non-inherited traits could be something like, you know, your favorite ice cream. Okay. You don't inherit that from your parents. It could be like, I like favorite ice cream. Okay. This can be a non-inherited trait. You're not going to inherit that from your parents. You might like chocolate and your parents like vanilla. Okay, these are there's different ones other than being just injured. Okay, remember, it's any change that happens to you. Maybe your clothing. For humans, it could be clothing. What type of clothing you like. Let me try to come up with some more non-inherited traits. Let's think about the more of the animal world. So injuries are probably the more popular one for the animal world, but yeah. Give me 1 second. Let's say you turn black from an oil spill. Let's say you have oil all over you. Oil all over you. That would not be an inherited trait. That's from an oil spill. That's a non-inherited trait. And now you're black. Okay. So there's all these different types of non-inherited traits. Remember, these come from your parents. And these come from like learning. These are from learning and the environment. These are from learning and the environment. Okay. Is a lion knowing how to hunt an inherited trait or a non-inherited trait? A lion learning to hunt, is that a inherited trait or non-inherited trait? A lion learning to hunt. Ray, what do you think? Oh, I can't hear you, Ray. We still can't hear you, Ray. At least I can't hear you. Try unmuting. Okay, Ray, we still can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call on someone else. Blue Moon. Ray, make sure to try fix your microphone. Blue Moon. Is a lion learning to hunt? Is that an inherited trait or a non-inherited trait?
Not inherited.
Non-inherited. Exactly, guys. Learning new things is non-inherited. You guys taking this class, a lot of your parents might not even know this. A lot of your parents might not even know this. You can't inherit this. You can't inherit this. You have to be able to learn this in class. Okay. So inherited traits. We have our bunnies. We have our bunnies here. You can tell me a few inherited traits from our bunnies. Let's have Jack Vu. What's an inherited trait you see?
I see the black rabbit and the yellow rabbit. The nose of black rabbit and the yellow rabbit is white.
They have a white nose. Very good. So you could say white nose, brown fur, all these things. Does anyone know a behavior that might be inherited? What would be a behavior that would be inherited? Something these bunnies would do that would be inherited. Can anyone think of an inherited trait? What is something a bunny would do without having to learn it? Anyone have a guess? This is kind of hard. What might a bunny be able to do without learning? Pasta, do you have an idea? What could maybe this bunny do without learning it? It just knows how to do it. What might these bunnies know how to do? Hop. There you go. Hopping is an inherited trait. Hopping is an inherited trait. They don't need to learn. They don't need to learn that. Okay. That is inherited. Very good. Okay. And then remember, our non-inherited traits are painting your nails. Does anyone have a guess of what this animal is? What is this animal? Does anyone know? Cherry, what is this animal? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah, this thing's gross. What is this thing? Scart, what is this animal? Do you know what this animal is? Do you have a guess? I promise everyone here knows this animal. Everyone knows this animal. Everyone.
Animal.
Okay, I'll give you a hint, guys. We shaved off all of its hair, but you guys all know this animal. You guys all know about this animal. I promise you know this animal. Jackie, what is this animal, do you think?
I think if it's put out the hair, I think it's like a sheep, but it's no wool.
Okay, a sheep with no wool. So guys, this is a bear. This is a bear with no fur. This is what a bear looks like, a black bear with no fur. I know everyone knows what a bear is. So I know you guys know this. I'll show you guys a black bear. Everyone knows what a black bear is. But this is one without any hair. This is a black bear without any hair. Thankfully, they have hair in the wild because they look very scary without their hair. Is this black bear with no hair inherited or non-inherited? Sarah, is this black bear with no hair non-inherited or inherited?
Non-inherited.
Non-inherited, exactly. Ah, gross. Okay, guys, let's look at this. We have a little video for you guys. Let's watch this video and then we can talk about it. Oh, I forgot. I have the video up as well. Oh, let me make sure I'm sharing my sound. This is going to be a time lapse, guys, of an experiment. This experiment's a lot of fun. I'm sure some of you guys have even done this one before. All you need is some white type of flower. These are carnations. Okay, guys. So that'll be enough of the video, but this is a good example of a non-inherited trait. Okay, now we have all these beautiful colors. We have a little bit of red, blue, orange, yellow, a little bit of green, blue, and red. And these are non-inherited colors. All of these colors were not inherited from the parents. What color was inherited from the parent plant? What color was inherited from the parent plant? Cherry, what color was inherited from the parent plant?
Is that good?
Yes. What color did these flowers inherit from their parents? What color did they inherit from their parents?
Color blue.
Not the color blue. Let's look before the experiment. What color were they before the experiment? Before they changed color. Okay. So what is the inherited trait? They inherited, I'm gonna call on someone else. Cherry, I heard you say it though. I heard you say it. Banana, what color were these flowers before they changed color?
White.
They were white. White is the inherited trait. All of these other colors are non-inherited. They're from the environment or they are learned. In this case, they're from the environment. Okay. Okay, guys. Now, most of our examples in this class have been physical traits. Physical traits. Okay. Physical means you can touch them. You can touch something that is physical. Okay, that's the best way to think about it. Anything that is physical is something that you can touch. Okay, is something you can touch and is sometimes something you can see with your eyes. Okay, color. Okay, physical traits could be the fur, their ears, their eyes, their nose. All these things are physical traits. Wings, feet. Okay, webbed feet, talons. These are physical traits. Okay, who can read out some of the physical traits we have learned about so far? Blue Moon, could you read the physical traits we have learned about so far? Some of them?
Color, body shape, color pattern, body covering, body part, and more.
Okay, these are physical traits. These are physical traits. Okay, you can touch these, you can see these. Now there are some of these, there are some traits that you can't. And remember, Those are behavioral traits. So now we're going to spend the rest of the class talking about behavioral traits. And guys, this is very important because tomorrow will be our last day of review. Tomorrow will be our last day of review. And guys, you're going to have multiple questions on behavioral traits. Okay, so let's make sure we understand what a behavioral trait is. Okay, and this is important just to know for science as well. First, we asked you guys, what is a behavior? Can someone give me an example of a behavior? Pasta, could you give me an example of a behavior?
Speaking.
Speaking. Yes, speaking. I like it. Okay. And who can read the definition? We have a definition here now. Who can read our definition for the class of a behavior? Let's have Sophia. Sophia, could you read the definition of a behavior?
The definition of the behavior is action are
Reactions.
that an organized reproduce and reason to a
Particular situation. Okay, and this definition seems hard, but let me give you guys a simple example. Okay, so let's go over this definition really quickly. So actions or reactions. An action would be like hunting, Okay, a reaction is something that you react to. One thing that you guys probably react to, what happens if you watch something that is scary? What is something that you do if you watch something that is really, really scary? Moon, what is something that what do you do when something is really, really scary?
I am afraid.
Yeah, but what's something that you might do? You're afraid. What might you do? Would you cover your eyes? What would you do?
Away.
You would run away. Exactly. That is called a reaction. You're reacting to your environment. Moon is scared, so she runs away. That's a good reaction to most things. If you are scared, run away. Okay? Run away. Okay? That's called a reaction.
But if we what happen if a monster then he eat them?
Hopefully you don't run into a monster. Is it going to eat you?
A tail of monster.
Yeah, you better run if that happens, Moon. You better run. Okay. What would be your reaction? What would be your reaction to eating something really, really sour? Alex, what would be your reaction if you ate something really, really sour?
Then I will taste. Then I will keep tasting, or I will gonna put it out of my mouth.
You're gonna spit it out of your mouth. Yes, that's a reaction. That is a reaction. Maybe you like stuff that's really sour, so you'll keep it in your mouth. But if you don't, you might spit it out of your mouth. Blech, I can't handle it. It's too sour. Those are reactions, guys. Reactions are usually done without, it's from your environment. So what would be the reaction? Let's say there's a fish and you see a shark. What is going to be the fish reaction? What's going to be the fish's reaction if they see a shark? Sam?
The fish will run away, but I will
The fish is going to run away.
That all the world can handle it. It's when we do not keep breathing like this, and then we hold it in our lungs. But everyone need one reaction, is they will breath it out, because they never can hold for long that they will die. They will breath it out. That's a reaction.
Exactly. That's a good example of a reaction.
Who can hold it?
And holding your breath could be a behavior. When would you hold your breath? When's it good to hold your breath? Sam, when do you want to hold your breath?
When something is very smell.
When something smells. Yeah, when something smells. What's another time you have to hold your breath? Zook? Yeah, what's another time you would have to hold your breath?
Very sour.
Zook, can you give me an example of when you have to hold your breath? Okay, Zook, I can't really hear you too well. Can you get a little closer to your mic? I can't really hear you.
Close it to my microphone. This computer is wrong.
Okay. So when would you hold your breath? When you're under what? Under?
Water.
Yeah, when you're underwater. Humans can't breathe underwater. When an animal that can't breathe underwater is underwater, they have to hold their breath. That's a behavior. Guys, everything we're talking about are behaviors. Okay, things that we do or something that we can learn is a behavior. Okay. Now, this is where it gets tricky, guys. There are inherited behaviors, ones that you do not learn. Like ones that you do not learn. Kind of like what Sam said, holding your breath. Okay. Holding your breath. This is something you don't have to learn. You have to breathe to survive. You do not need to learn that. Okay. You do not have to learn how to breathe. Because if you stop, you're going to die. It's something you never had to learn. You breathed before you even, right when you were a baby. Okay. That's an inherited behavioral trait. But some behaviors are not inherited. So this is where it's going to get confusing. So the best way to think about this, guys, is inherited behavioral traits. Okay. Inherited behavioral traits are things that animals or plants just know to do. They just know to do. Okay. Like spitting out something that is sour is an inherited behavioral trait. Okay. Because it's not like no one teaches you to spit it out. When you taste something you don't like, your reaction is just to spit it out. Okay. That's an inherited behavioral trait. No one ever had to teach you how to spit out food. You've been spitting out food for a while. Okay. Now, another example of a inherited behavioral trait are these fish. What are they doing? What are these fish doing? We talked about this already. What are these fish doing? Sophia, what are these fish doing?
The fish is running away.
They are running away. No one taught these fish to run away. What would happen to them if they don't run away?
The bigger fish will eat them.
We'll eat them, exactly. Are you able? So guys, let's say a fish does not run away and the fish eats them. Is that fish going to be able to learn? Oh, next time I'm going to run away. Are they able to learn that? Next time I'll run away. Emma, what do you think? Will the fish be able to learn? Oh, next time I'm going to run away and not be eaten by the fish.
No, because if next time they run away, that time the big fish will eat it already.
Yeah, they're already eaten. They're dead. If you're already dead, you can't learn what to do. That's why when we see things that scare us, we never have to be taught. We just run away because it's better to run away than be eaten. It's better to run away than be eaten. Because if you get eaten, you can never learn that lesson again because you're dead. Okay. So that's why it's an inherited trait. Things that are inherited are innate, that you just know them. You can feel them. Okay. And surprisingly, guys, what else is an inherited behavioral trait that we have learned about? And this one might be something that you didn't know about. What's an inherited behavioral trait? What do you guys see on the screen? Taylor, what do you see on the screen?
I see a in the nest and one bird, I think, is breaking out the nest. I don't know.
Yeah, and did you know, Taylor, that the birds never learn how to build their nest? They just know how to do it. They're born knowing how to do it. Did you know that?
No.
No, I didn't know that either. Mr. Connor was like, wow, the bird can build its nest without ever learning how to make it. Without ever learning how to make it. It never learns from its parents, and that makes sense. What do birds do when they're able to fly away? What do birds do when they're able to fly away? What do? Do they stay with their parents or do they leave? Emma, what do you think they do?
I think they leave.
They leave. Do they stay to learn how to build the nest?
No.
No, but when they're adults, they know how to do it. That's because it was inherited. It's programmed in their head. They never had to learn it. They never had to learn it. Yes, Jack Fu, do you have a question or want to share?
Why?
Why?
Don't need to learn.
Because somehow they're born knowing how to do it. I'm not sure, to be real with you, Jack Fu. I don't know why, but there's some things you're born knowing how to do. Just like Jack Fu, if you got scared, you would have a behavior that you never learned. Let's say something was really scary. You would react to that with something that you've never learned. You would just run away. Maybe some people freeze. Everyone reacts differently in that situation. There's some other examples, okay? Now we're looking at this dog, Lisa. Lisa, is what the dog doing a inherited behavioral trait or a non-inherited behavioral trait?
I think a non-inherited.
Yeah, non-inherited behavioral trait. And why do you think that, Lisa?
Because the dog already knows how to sit down.
Yeah, they had to teach the dog, right? The dog did not know that when it's a puppy, right? You have to teach a dog, right?
Yes.
Okay, how about Lisa, how about barking at a stranger? Let's say a dog sees a stranger and starts barking at it. Is that something that was inherited or non-inherited?
I think
Non-inherited? I would say that's inherited because does a dog need to learn how to bark at someone? No, they just come out, they just start off barking. They will just start off barking. They don't learn that. They don't have to learn that. Does that make sense, Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, guys, a dog. So like dogs learning tricks would be a non-inherited behavior. A dog sitting, a dog rolling. If you guys have ever seen a dog that can do a handshake, those are non-inherited behaviors. The dog never had to learn how to do it. Or no, they had to learn how to do it. Sorry, they had to learn how to do those behaviors. But let's say barking, running away from danger, running after a squirrel. Those things were never learned. Those are things that they want to do, that they're inherited from their parents, okay? And I know this is a little bit confusing, but the treats and the tricks are non-inherited behavioral traits. I know that's a lot of words there. It's not inherited, does not come from your parents, and it's a behavioral trait, okay? It's a behavior, okay? And it's a trait. I know that's a big, big word. Okay, guys, let's go over your homework. Let's go over your homework now. Okay, we're towards the ends of class. Now, to make this a little bit more simple, we're going to design a dog. We're going to design a dog. Now, there's 3 things you need to do. Draw a dog. Your dog can look however you want. It can be your imaginary dog. It can be your dog at home. It does not have to be real. You can add things to it if you want. You can have fun with your dog, okay? It doesn't have to be a real dog. You can make up your own dog, okay? It does not have to be real. I want you guys then to make a list of inherited physical traits, traits that came from its parents. You guys have done this before. This should be easy now. Tell me the fur color, the eye color. Do they have floppy ears, pointy ears? Okay, those are the inherited physical traits. You guys should be able to do that very shortly. 1 and 2 are nothing new. Drawing a dog and making a list of traits is something we have done before. Number 3 is where you need to spend your time to focus. Okay. Number 3, now write about what behaviors your dog might. Okay, now I want you to think about behaviors that your dog would have. Write about your dog, write about one that your dog would have to learn. What's a behavior you would teach your dog? What would you teach your dog to do? You can teach your dog to do anything you want, okay? You can teach your dog to do whatever you want. Just tell me, write about what you would teach. One thing that you would teach your dog that it would have to learn. And I want you guys to write one behavior that it is inherited, that it inherited. Okay, talked about one behavior that you would not have to teach your dog. Your dog would just know how to do it because it's a dog. Think about things that dogs just do. They do not need to learn from their environment. Something that would just come to them naturally. Right when they come out of right when they are newborn, this dog would be able to do this, okay? So once again, draw a dog, make a list of the physical traits, inherited physical traits, write down about one behavior your dog might have, and then write one that it has to learn and one that it will inherit, okay? That is your homework. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, guys, everyone, that is class for today. We will spend one more day. We're gonna look at your dogs, and then we're gonna go over behavioral traits one more time. And then your weekend, we will have our quiz. This weekend will be your quiz. We have one more day, and I can't wait to see what dogs you guys make. I can't wait to see what dogs you make and what you teach them to do and what you teach them to do. Bye-bye, guys.